Hey guys, what's up? Aaron here. Have we got an exciting video for you? You're aware that Greg Fergus, the new House Speaker, has been having great difficulty with Poilievre and the Conservatives. He tries to demonstrate his authority today. It doesn't go very well. He gets rejected. They keep hitting back, and he keeps trying to control everything. It's ridiculous. Let's take a peek. It starts off with Poilievre. We'll show that, and then what else goes on. We'll show you all of it. It's interesting. Check it out.
The Prime Minister promised that Wednesdays would be Prime Minister's question period. His public itinerary indicates he's in Ottawa, and he was even spotted in the building. So the question is for the Prime Minister about the carbon tax chaos he has unleashed. He has paused the tax on some heat for some people, leading the Government of Alberta to threaten a lawsuit, the Government of Saskatchewan to threaten not to collect the tax, NDP provincial parties in the West even turning against it, and some First Nations saying the entire thing is illegal. Will he reverse all of this chaos and just axe the tax?
Yeah, so Poilievre fires that shot, and then Fergus steps in.
Before I have the Honourable Minister answer the question, I just want to remind all members it's important not to do indirectly what you can't do directly. As the Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let's...
So this happens the very next time Poilievre gets up. This is Poilievre.
The question was for the Prime Minister.
That's right.
He has unleashed carbon tax chaos across the country. After saying he would never bend, he backed down because I kept beating him in these debates in the House of Commons. And he put a 2-year pause on some heating oil for some people, causing Saskatchewan to threaten not to collect the tax, Alberta to threaten a lawsuit, 6 provinces coming out against the plan, First Nations saying it's illegal. If he's so proud of himself and what he's done, then why won't he stand up now and defend it?
So there's Poilievre just being told to stop by Greg, but he doesn't. So what is Fergus going to do? We'll see.
Again, I ask all members, please, if you do not have the floor, to refrain from speaking so that we can hear the question and we can hear the answer. The Honourable Minister.
Now I understand the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have done unto you, but this is Canadian politics. It's a different game. Greg and his decorum ideas don't fit. Poilievre won't take it.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Now the carbon tax chaos continues. The incoming leader of the Liberal Party, Mark Carney, has weighed in and said that he, quote, I would have looked for other ways to provide support than the route chosen, not least of because what is important is that clarity in terms of the overall plan, the overall direction. So now we have an incoming Liberal leader taking pot shots at an outgoing Liberal Prime Minister who is in hiding. How much longer can Canadians deal with this carbon tax chaos before we get an election and choose a common sense Conservative?
Now Poilievre has been told a couple of times by Craig Fergus to keep the decorum fair, to not mention who's in the House and who's not. And now he just said that the Prime Minister is hiding. So what's next?
Colleagues, before I pass on to the Parliamentary Secretary to answer the question, I'd like to remind all members, and out of profound respect to the position and the office of the Leader of the Opposition, I again want to remind all members to please take a look at the statement which I made regarding decorum in the House in terms of understanding what all members have to do in terms of their work. I'll pass on the question to the Parliamentary Secretary to respond.
So it's really interesting what happens here. The Liberals start flipping on him. It's weird. They start breaking the rules.
Secretary to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's 2023, and if you don't have a plan to fight climate change and protect the environment, then you don't have a plan for the economy or for affordability either. And it's very clear that the Conservative plan is just to cut funding for social services like the Canada Child Benefit and our dental plan and seniors funding and the dental benefit, which has just recently surpassed 200,000 children, Mr. Speaker. The Conservative plan to fix global inflation by cutting people's services is not going to work. It's risky, irresponsible, and it's absolutely reckless, just like the Conservative leader.
So I think it surprised Fergus a little bit to have that happen. He does react a little bit. You can see it.
Again, I'd like to remind all members in the questions and their answers is that you will want to make sure that you are not impugning to individual members questions that I raised regarding their courage, their intelligence, or even their presence in the House. I ask all members, please, to exercise some great restraint and decorum. We can have passionate debates in this House, and there are ways which we can do so within the rules that have been established by this place.
This is one of the strangest parts. Everybody was behaving just before this happens, but Fergus stands up and says this.
Before I give the floor to the Honourable Member for Saint Jean, I would just like to encourage all members who have not been recognized by the Speaker to please leave the floor to those who have been recognized to ask their questions and to answer questions. The Honourable Member for Saint Jean.
The new Speaker, Greg Fergus, just isn't getting it. They're not listening. A few minutes later, Poilievre was back on deck and swinging hard.
This Liberal senator, Mr. Percy Down, wrote, and I quote, "The opportunity for a Conservative government has been created by a lack of fiscal responsibility by the Liberal government, and the damage it has caused our economy is now showing up in the opinion polls. Within the Liberal Party, many members who are in favor of fiscal responsibility have given up on this current iteration of the Liberal Party, and hence the leader should resign." Yet he won't stand and answer questions, even though his itinerary shows that he was in this building today. If he won't show up and do his job, why won't he get out of the way? Because I will.
Well, so we know Mr. Speaker's a bit of a weird bird. How is he going to deal with that? This is what he does. He's odd. So try to listen to the insults that are being hurled at him. They're hysterical.
Clean house. Clean the rot out of this house. Bring the outside.
Over the last 2 weeks, many members have taken it upon themselves to quote my statement back to me, and I'm quite happy to defend that statement. As your chair, again, I will say that it is important for us to recognize that all members have duties, all members of this House, regardless of which side you have, which sometimes takes them out of this chamber to do their duties. That's the reason. That is the reason why. That is the reason why that we try not to mention whether or not the member is present or not in the House. It's part of the duties. So we are going to continue on. I believe the Honourable House Leader is going to answer this question.
So then, the very next thing that happens, Karina Gould, the boring clown, she flips out. She's a Liberal, but she flipped. Here it is.
Mr. Speaker, I find the last thing that the Honourable Leader of the Opposition said particularly troubling, because it is Canadians who decide who sit in this House and not the Leader of the Opposition. But Mr. Speaker, let me be very clear that it's troubling, but it's not surprising, because when he was the Minister of Democratic Reform, Mr. Speaker, he made it harder for 150,000 of Canada's most vulnerable citizens to vote. He was also sanctioned by Elections Canada for violating electoral law. While what he's saying is completely inappropriate, it is unsurprising given his track record and his lack of respect for democracy. Thank you.
I'm actually starting to feel bad for Mr. Speaker, Greg Fergus. Like, I am actually starting to feel bad a little bit. Not that much, a little bit. It's kind of funny. But what is he going to say about that? Somebody actually says, sit down and shut up. They yell it.
It is so important. Colleagues, sit down. Hello.
Order.
Colleagues, it is important, once again, to not call in.
Sit down, speaker is up.
Could I ask the member, please, from Surrey, to please allow me to continue. Colleagues, I ask all members to please exercise discretion. These are the things which you all raised with me and others in terms of improving the discretion. So, I'm going to ask the Honourable Leader of the... Colleagues. Colleagues.
He should be sit down.
May I ask all colleagues, excuse me, colleagues, temperatures are running hot. Temperatures are running hot today. If I could ask all members, please, to sit down. May I ask all members to respectfully sit down, please?
All members.
May I ask all members to respectfully sit down until I recognize them to speak? Please. Colleagues. The honourable member, the honourable leader of the opposition.
Yes, everybody, that's why I love Canadian politics. It's so weird. He did finally sit down and shut up. Somebody yelled that at him. Crazy. So fun. Like and subscribe. We'll be following this. We'll be covering all the stories. So Canadian politics, eh? Check it out. We'll catch you next time. Have a good night.